and it's a volley into the net. Once again, just one, not the ball you want to come in on. Two, very early in the rally. It's just a little uncharacteristic. Yes, we do see Alcaraz taking chance, being the one to be the aggressor in the tight moments, but that time, really nothing to attack there. Hit a good backhand, but Sinner sitting on that side anyway. So here it is. Championship point has arrived. Sinner pointing out, I think there's a light in his face, so he wants that shut off. Here it is. Sinner, middle return. Carlos dancing around the backhand, hit a forehand cross court. Exchanging forehands here. Middle of the court forehand. And Carlos tries to go backhand cross court, but misses it wide. Sinner falls to the floor, and he is the ATP Finals champion in Turin. 2025 caps off a great season for both these guys. Obviously sharing the last 8 major titles. And it's Sinner who is an ATP Finals champion yet again. Go ahead, guys. Flood the comments. Tell us your thoughts. I'm more interested in the Alcaraz decision-making towards the end of this match. Just various net rushes that didn't have a lot of rhyme or reason behind them. And who knows if the hamstring had anything to do with that.
Do you think it might have done, Brenner?
I think it might have. Definitely uncharacteristic in my eyes, but
agree.
Everything just felt rushed. And like he didn't necessarily come off that way, especially in his mood. I mean, he was still ripping it.
I didn't really see any difference in the movement, but I didn't consider the hamstring when I was watching him. And I'm thinking, don't come into the net. Sometimes from slightly advantageous, he's slightly up in the rally and he's like a couple of points in that last game. And I'm thinking there were other times when it felt kind of natural to come into the net. And it did make sense, albeit because of Sinner's prowess, every way, shape or form, cross-court, passes, etc., lobs as well, that you would have thought that even though the temptation would have been there, that he would have held back just because of how the match was going. But listen, Jannik comes back from a breakdown. He also had one did he have one championship point come and go? Or did he win it on the first championship point?
Won it on the first.
Yep. Won it on the first. I remember thinking, I think at 30 all actually, thinking, well, Alcaraz has saved some championship points already this year in mega scenarios, but he wasn't able to do it today, of course.
Yeah, I thought it got more fun throughout the match. And yeah, for Alcaraz, I don't know, it just looked, I don't know, maybe routine in a sense, and maybe he was just going about it. But yeah, just like a little bit of an odd finish. But hey, I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I just really wanted a third set. I guess I think many of us neutrals were seeking that. And when he goes up a break in that set and gets broken back pretty quickly, I think he might have consolidated the break before getting broken.
He did,
at 3-2, wasn't it? So, yeah. And the way he'd been serving, of course, he didn't face a break point and Jannik got a bit lucky, didn't he? I think it was on the break point he got lucky, wasn't it? When
it was.
There was a good body. If I said to Alcaraz, there's a couple of things I want to say with Alcaraz today. There was a couple of times I was like body serving, and that was one of them. And he did. I mean, Jannik did really well to react pretty quickly to get his racket on it. But I actually thought the point was done. I was only when I was like, the ball landed in.
Yes, I could tell by the body language of Alcaraz that it was tailing back in.
Right. So that was one thing. There was another thing about the Alcaraz return position today, which I think he bailed out a bit too soon on the aggressive second serve return position. Why? Because Jannik was doing great on that, and he was getting some unreturns because Jannik was going big on the second serve, and then so Alcaraz decided, you know what, that's happened 2 or 3 times now. But then Jannik knows that as well. He can now see him, I don't know, 5 meters behind the baseline. So suddenly those second serves are much tamer again from Jannik. And I was thinking, you know what? Don't blink yet, Carlos. Stick to your guns, stick close to the baseline or even inside the baseline or close to it on those second serves. But he kind of, because of what had happened on those, but I'm like, that doesn't bother me because I just know the guy's going to double fault a lot. And I'm going to do okay with reactions sometimes. He's going to miss his spots on occasion. But he did then in the second set at one point go, you know what, I'm just going to get way behind even on the second serves. And I thought, I wasn't disappointed. Sometimes you see someone mega aggressive on the second serve and they're messing up every time. Well, yeah, some players, but not Carlos against Jannik. I was okay with that. But anyway.
Yep. No, I agree. And I thought Alcaraz serving, I thought he got a lot of success out of the body serve. Might have overused it a tad come the second set. I didn't feel like he went T enough on the A2 side. And then another thing that I'm just saying this out of pure thinking back about the match, no numbers involved. It feels like it wasn't as successful of a day at the net for Alcaraz as he's used to, but obviously against Sinner, it's just different.
But I think it's Sinner. I think, his volleys today weren't as effective, but as I think Dave said in the chat, when they're coming at you at a million miles an hour, low over the net, that's a bit different to a Ben Shelton or Felix Auger-Aliassime or I don't know who else, doing all return of serve. It's not quite as demonic as Jannik's.
And he also got lobbed twice.
Yeah.
You don't see it often. So yeah, and I'm thinking about just sporadic net rushing, just very uncharacteristic. You don't see many players even do it.
Just points in it though, Brenner. Still just a couple of points,
Yeah, exactly. And so I actually yes, we won't see them play for a little while now. So
it's going to be at least, you would think, end of January, and that's obviously if both of them make the final, which seems likely at the moment, but a long
next opportunity. But
I haven't seen any stats from the match. Normally I just rely on the TV because they pop up pretty quickly afterwards.
Yeah,
I was wondering if there was any sort of glaring, serves like 80% ins or 52% one, if you like.
Let me take a
look. Do that. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if anything else is happening interesting on Twitter, and then we'll bring this to a close. Jannik fell to the floor. You could see that obviously meant a lot to him, obviously in his home country and retaining the title without dropping a set. Certainly for another show, Brenner, but the chasm between the top 2 players in the world and the rest, it seems to be widening. Just as we keep asking for it to close, it seems to be getting wider.
Yeah. I mean, it is. There's really no arguing that. The only thing I had to say to some of the comments we saw or that I read today is yes, I mean, it's almost inevitable at this point, and I'm not mad about it, right? These two are going to meet. It is a little boring depending on how they get here. But I just point out there's these matches, for example, Alcaraz Fritz, where Fritz he created 9 break points and arguably can take the match. You know what I mean? It's
Zverev created 7, didn't take any of them.
And that was the other match I pointed out, over 7, and he arguably should have won the match in straight sets. It's yes, it would have been more interesting and of course crazy storylines, but we don't get them in the end, and it's the same story. Which depending on,
you still think that even if Zverev takes one of those, though, I'm still backing Sinner to win that one way, shape, or form. Probably.
The break points did come at different times, but maybe Zverev takes the first set or something like that.
Yeah. Anything from the stats that we should be aware of?
I mean, it was fairly low first serve percentage as we saw in that second set. I think that's where for Sinner, 55% first serves.
That is low.
Yeah, I think it was second set, like heavy pour. Let's see, actually. Yeah, 47% in the second set.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
Which
obviously Alcaraz got
I
a
th-
break in that set.
yeah, exactly. Um,
So
so
actually, Jannik Sinner is the only player since 1990 to win this tournament without dropping a set. I didn't know that.
wow.
He did it last year and he's done it again this year. So, of course, that is 20 consecutive sets. If I was an Opta Twitter account, a person, I'd be writing like hashtag dominance or something at the end of that. Of course, he was trying to become, I think, the first person ever to win the title without even dropping his serve, but he did drop his serve today on one occasion, of course, in that second set. And yeah, Alcaraz might have one or two regrets. But listen, it's just one. And Alcaraz, by the way, still served very well. And I think that's something that Alcaraz can take away from this year as a whole. There were comments on the eve of the Australian Open and even during the Australian Open about him improving his serve, but they went away pretty quickly because he lost to Djokovic. But I think we saw it at various other stages throughout the year of and in fact, just today, and it could be the conditions, I think it made the match a little bit, just a few percent less interesting because Alcaraz is serving so much better. That dynamic in terms of the lengthy rallies and crazy shots that they can both produce as they chase shots down that mere mortals like you and I could never even dream of doing. I think it does sort of change things a little bit. But anyway, all right, listen, I think we can give that a wrap because we'll have ATP Weekly coming up in just over an hour with Vanch and Mert. But yeah, big thanks, Brenner, for taking care of business as you often do in that second set.
Happy to do it. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
And taking care of business is exactly what Jannik Sinner ultimately did today, winning the match 7-6, 7-5. To everybody, thank you for joining. There's been a good, healthy watch along today with plenty of people, and we'll see you all on the other side for ATP Weekly shortly. But for everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.